Everyone, Wargame Workshop here. Today we're going to be reviewing the Games Workshop Warhammer 40k Space Marine Primaris Infernus squad. So, these guys are kind of just regular intercessors if they had flamethrowers. They are not very long-ranged, so you probably don't want to use them for that. But if you have an enemy who likes to hide and cover, these guys are exceedingly good at taking out infantry units hiding in cover with a butt ton of dice, and they ignore cover. So that's pretty good. So what you're getting in this is for $51, you're going to be getting yourself 190 points for 10 models, or you can split this into a squad of 2, each of those squads having 95 points. So that is pretty good. You're getting a lot of points for the amount of money you spent, which is good. A lot of Space Marines have that. These guys are, I believe, the easy assemble kits. So if you like posability, this might not be the kit for you. At least those are the ones I got, as I got them in the Leviathan box set. But I'm assuming that they just use the same sprues because Games Workshop doesn't want to pay extra money. So it's a pretty good deal for what you're getting. You're just getting some guys, and these seem to be the poster boys of the Space Marine units now. So, I mean, they're probably good, and they are quite good in terms of their stats. But like basically against any vehicles, these guys are going to get smoked. So a little bit of lore about these guys is that they are kind of they have flamethrowers. That's basically all the lore you need to know. They are normal Space Marines with flamethrowers. There really is no lore. These guys are really good at killing bugs, though, so that's probably why they are the poster boys of the Space Marines now with the new Space Marines versus Tyranids line in 10th edition. So let's get into the stats. These guys aren't too particularly amazing compared to like other Space Marine units. They are just a pretty average unit, so let's get right into those. All right, so let's get into this discussion about what their stats are. So, for keywords, they have Infantry, Grenades, Imperium, Tacticus, Infernus Squad. And their faction keyword is Adeptus Astartes. So, the Infernus Squad has a movement of 6, so pretty standard for Space Marines. A toughness of 4, so also standard for Space Marines. Save of 3+, standard. And 2 wounds, which is also standard. Leadership of 6+, guess what that is? Standard. And an objective capture of 1. So, standard. See what I say? These guys are just standard Space Marines with some flamethrowers. That's literally all these guys are. So, for ranged weapons, they have a bolt pistol, which has the keyword pistol, which means you can use it in melee range. They have a range of 12 for the pistols. An attack of 1, so each Space Marine will be able to fire 1 pistol. They have to hit, it's going to be a 3+, and a strength of 4. So this isn't really going to be a very effective weapon, but it might be more effective than your close combat weapon. Oh wait, it actually isn't. So I don't know why you'd use this, actually. Well, I do know why you'd use this, but it doesn't matter. So they have a damage of 1 also. They have a Pyroblaster, which is their flamethrower, which is their main weapon. It ignores cover, which is very overpowered, I feel, but also extremely useful. And also, all fire things ignore cover, so that makes sense. And this is possibly the best thing that these guys can do. Basically, just take over any structure from infantry. They also have Torrent, so they get to skip to hit. They have a range of 12 also, so the same range as pistol. Very close range, not super long range. So that's why I'm saying you're probably going to use these guys to take buildings or objectives. They have 6 attacks, up to 6 attacks. They have a D6. Which means that all these Space Marines, they can do about 60 attacks if they all make their strength, which is, it's a little overpowered. That is really overpowered. But one thing I do find is that there's so many attacks that hit, but almost none of them actually, pierce the armor. Or even, I guess, hit in the first place. So, they only really hit against infantry is what I'm trying to get at here. And they have an armor piercing of 1, and they each do 1 damage. So pretty bad against any, tanks or monsters. What I found in my personal experience with these guys is that when I unleashed all hell on a single monster, I did approximately 0 damage, despite having, 20 successful rolls. So that's an idea of kind of how bad these guys are at fighting monsters. But I can wipe out like Tau Pathfinder teams with them easily. So that is something that they're very good at. So if your opponent is very infantry heavy and likes to just camp in buildings, these guys will be very easy to drive them out. They also have their close combat weapon, pretty standard weapon for all Space Marines. It's going to have 3 attacks, a weapon strength of 3+, so to hit it's going to be 3+, strength of 4, armor piercing of 0, and 1 damage. So each Space Marine can do a decent amount of damage with their close combat weapon. They have, for their abilities, the Oath of Moment and Incendiary Terror. So in your shooting phase, after this unit has shot, you can select 1 enemy infantry unit to be hit or more, hit by 1 or more of those attacks made with the Pyroblaster. That enemy unit must take a battle shock test. So I'm assuming this just means that the enemies are terrified of the fire that's being rained down upon them. So they have to roll a battle shock test, which can be very useful. And I like to use that when enemies are in cover and I want them to no longer be able to be controlling the objective that cover is sitting on. So that's always nice. So we already talked about the unit composition, and every model is equipped with a bolt pistol, a Pyroblaster, and a close combat weapon, even the Sergeant. And the Sergeant does have a grenade, though I don't really see that anywhere looking at it right now. Let me know in the comment section if you see anything on this sheet I pulled up. All right, so that is pretty much the stats. So would I recommend this unit? Maybe. It's pretty good against any enemy army with tons of infantry. But if your enemy is playing like the Tau or some other faction with a ton of monsters, like maybe the Tyranids, I don't know. These guys might not be your best decision to spend your points on. So I personally find these guys very... well, I don't really find them that useful. They used to be very useful when my enemies were only buying infantry, but they've evolved, and now they have a bunch of vehicles, and I find these guys are quite useless against that. So I guess it all just depends on who you're playing. I still have these guys in my army. They're actually a bulk of my infantry because of what I've already purchased, such as the Leviathan box set. These guys also have some nostalgia for me, though. They were the first Space Marines I've ever gotten, and the first Warhammer models in 40K I've ever painted. So do give them some grace about the bad paint job. These are my first guys ever painted, so they're not the best. And I'm looking at them right now, and I see a lot of mistakes. Like, I don't think this purity seal is going to help you. I don't think the Emperor is going to be very pleased about this one. Like, I don't know. Anyways, thanks for watching the video, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please like and subscribe to the channel. It would really help me out. See you on the next one.